You're listening to Storage Nerds Podcast, where we unravel the best-kept secret of the real estate investing world, the storage industry. Join the grassroots guru in self-storage, Stacy Rossetti, in insightful discussions about finding, funding, and running these spaces, allowing you to yield the highest returns possible. Get your foot in the door on self-storage and discover how to properly purchase facilities, negotiate with sellers, and close the deal without worries. Start unpacking that investment wisdom with Stacy right now.
I want to teach about, I want to go over wholesaling because I haven't taught about that in a while. And I don't know is there anybody here that has heard of wholesaling? Put into the chat, or has not heard of wholesaling. Just like, I have no idea what this is. Let me know. I'd love to know. Has anybody actually wholesaled anything before? So in real estate investing, there is like a niche. There's a niche where you can basically be the middle person between the buyer and the seller. This is not being a realtor, right? A realtor is where you go and get a license and, from the state, and then you are able to, be the person between, the person between the buyer and the seller, and you do that through a license. Wholesaling, and some states do not allow this, but really almost all of them do. And really, wholesaling is holding equitable trust in a property, and then being able to find somebody to buy it. So you could really be the middle person. And so I want to get into that because there's a lot of people out there that really, they want to invest in self-storage, but they don't really have a lot of money in order to do that, right? If you're one of those people, just let me know. It's not a big deal. I wholesale self-storage all the time. When I first got into real estate investing, I wholesaled property, because I didn't have a lot of money either, So wholesaling is a great way for you to make money in real estate, and without having any money, without having money to buy a property. Okay. And what's really good about wholesaling commercial property is that you can wholesale any type of commercial property. In fact, you can wholesale any property at all. So residential, houses, you can wholesale commercial property, buildings. You can wholesale self-storage. You can also wholesale land, right? They just call it flipping is what they do. So a lot of times when you hear flipping land or flipping commercial property, that's just wholesaling is what it is, flipping real estate. So I want to kind of get into that and just give you guys an idea of what you can do. Now, the same concepts go for finding facilities in, on the acquisition side. There's no difference between finding a facility as a wholesaler and finding a facility as a buyer, right? The end result is that if you find a facility, if you talk to an owner and the owner wants to sell, then essentially you just find somebody to buy that property instead of you buying that property. All right, that's what wholesaling is. So let's kind of get into it. Now, before we get started, let me know if you're new here. This is your first time. I'd love to meet you. So introduce yourself in the chat. And then also let me know if you own a storage facility. I'd love to know that. In the meantime, in case my daughter comes in, so I am by myself tonight, just so everybody knows. My husband, Pete, who is my partner, not only in life, but also in the storage business, he has been from Tuesday until Saturday. He has been at all of our storage facilities. We own, not all of them actually, but a couple of them. So we own 13 facilities across Georgia and Florida. We live in Tallahassee. And he went to, we just closed on a facility, not last week, but the week before in the fund. It's a really great deal, but it needs a lot. It's a severely mismanaged facility. In fact, we got 171 units, 25,000 square feet for only $375,000. That property, once it's fixed up and running, is valued over $2 million. And on top of that, it is worth, it's on 6 acres. So there's enough room to expand, and it's in a major city in Georgia. It's in a city of almost 200,000 people. So essentially what we did is we bought the ugliest storage facility in the city is what we did. And the owner just really was running it to the ground. And he told us, he's like, I'm just not doing it. Really, I'm just not. I need to get rid of this thing. It's just not a good deal. And we're the type of people, there's only certain people that will buy something like this. It needs like hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of work. And there's no bank that's going to finance that at all. So you either essentially need to get the owner to finance it, or you need to, pay cash for it. And we just paid cash is what we did. And it's going to cost us a couple $100,000 to fix it up. It's the perfect facility for our fund. And so we just closed on that like 2 weeks ago. And so Pete, like all last week and all this week, has been really kind of focusing on trying to get that thing up and running. It does not have any income at all. Nothing has he said he makes $1,000 a month. And also there's somebody living there as well too. He called me today. He's like, well, we got somebody living here. And so she came out of like one of the units. She came out and she was like, she introduced herself to my husband. It was like, because my husband was there trying to figure out the guy that owned the place beforehand. He spent all his money in like all the wrong places. He spent it on like an amazing like security system. Right. So like the place is totally secure. I don't know how somebody like lives there, but like there's cameras everywhere. And he also did like this brand new, like there's a brand new kind of like locking system for storage, where like you can lock at the unit. I don't know if anybody's ever heard of this before, but you can lock at the unit. So like if they don't pay, then the computer system will lock the door at the unit. And this has that. And a lot of the units, but not all the units. So he was trying to do that, but then in the end he ran out of money. So anyways, this lady walks, like Pete's there trying to figure this whole computer system out and trying to figure out the security system and stuff. And a lady walks out and she was like, I just want to introduce myself. And he was like, yeah, can I help you? She's just like, I just want you to know that I live over here in that unit. And she's like, Morris knew about it, but he just kind of let me stay here. She's like, I need a place to stay and I don't have any money. And so they talked for a little while and she told the story, how she was like, used to be into drugs. And then she got off drugs and she got like thrown in jail a couple of times and stuff. And she's just like had this horrible life and stuff. So she's just like, I know I'm gonna have to get out of here, but she's like, I just want to ask if you could just give me some time. So she was like totally honest about it, right? Which was nice. And so my husband was like, okay, this is the deal. He's like, here is a roll of trash bags. Here are some gloves. And he said, you can stay here, you can stay here for a little while if you need to. You're gonna have to get out, just so you know. But in the meantime, you have to earn your keep. So I want you to go and start picking up all the trash out here, because there was like a lot of trash and stuff. So it's like, you need to go pick all this trash up. And she's like, yeah, I'll do that. So she's like picking up the trash there, and then like he's working there, so that's the type of guy Pete is. So he's not gonna just like kick her out and stuff. So, because like she doesn't have any place to live, she doesn't have a place to go. So so she's going to pick up all the trash and stuff and earn her keep while she's staying there. And she said that, by the end of the month, she'll try to find some place to get out. She said, and he said, if you pick up all this trash, I'll help you find a place to live. I'll help you to move into another place and stuff. And she was just like so thankful and everything, So yeah, we had this one. This is one that we had a place, we had somebody living there. And then we had another guy in one of our other facilities one time. And he wasn't living in a unit, but he had an RV and he was renting a unit and he was paying on a monthly basis. But then what he did is he parked his unit like right next to, he parked his RV like right next to the unit. And then he would like he was staying in the unit, and like whenever he needed something, he'd just go out to the store, to his unit and grab it or whatever, kind of that. We had somebody doing that as well too, one of our other facilities. And so Pete was just like, I'm sorry, but you can't do that, like you can't live here, like you're scaring everybody off and stuff. And the guy was like, yeah, I know. He's like, I'm just trying to, I'm having a hard time right now. I'm just trying to figure out, what to do. And like all my stuff is here. And then I just have this like he was like a little tiny RV or whatever. And he's like, I'm just really trying to figure out what to do. And he was like, I'll give you like a couple of days and stuff, but like you can't you can't stay here, and so then eventually he like left, and like I guess found some place to stay, so that was another time that we had somebody not really living in the facility, but like, kind of sort of doing that. So, and Pete's the type of person that he just knows that, people are real and, they're human and they're only really trying to make it. The truth is we're all trying to make it, right? We're all just trying to make it, so he's working with this lady at this facility, and we'll see how it goes, or whatever, but we'll try to maybe help her, find a place to stay, I guess is what we're going to do. He's like, I'm going to have to help her find some place to stay. I was like, I don't know what to do, but that's really the only thing we can do because she doesn't have any place to go. So what would you guys do in that scenario? Would you guys help him out or kick him out or call the cops, or what would you do? And, it doesn't really happen a lot. I mean, we've had, storage facilities for, for almost 6 years now. And there's only 2 times, that's really ever happened. And we have 1,300 doors, maybe 1,500. We have a lot of doors. Okay. So I believe, just help, instead of freaking out, help and stuff. Your first reaction is always like, I can get those people out of there, but like, at least mine is, I'm like, get her out, and Pete's is just like totally opposite. Pete's is like, let's try to figure out what we can do for her. All right. So, so that's what Pete's doing. He's been from Tuesday until today. He's been trying to really get this facility going, up and running and stuff, and working hard at getting that done. And then one of our other facilities, which is in Atlanta. So we have 4 facilities in Atlanta, because that's where we started out. And one of our facilities, it's in Fayetteville, Georgia, which is a suburb of Atlanta. We got last year, right around this time, we got the facility repaved, because we actually park in that facility, we park big rigs. All right. So not like tractor trailer, like not the back end, but the big rigs, dump trucks, pig rigs. So that's actually our very first facility that we ever bought. And I went over this deal last week, if you guys weren't there or not, so we parked like big rigs and stuff. So we got the whole thing paved. And then he was there this past week because in one section we have some not paved, but it's gravel, which is where a lot of the dump trucks and stuff park, because they tear a lot of the area up. And so we graveled it and stuff. So he was there really kind of managing that and kind of getting it done, because we're going to be selling that. We're going to be selling those 4 facilities. We bought maybe, 5 or 6 years ago, we bought all 4 of those facilities. And we're going to sell those as a portfolio. We're going to list them in January. And that's primary market, because you have primary, which is obviously Atlanta and the suburbs. And then you have secondary market, which would be maybe outside of the Atlanta market, maybe, not like the suburbs of Atlanta, but maybe outside of Atlanta, or, a small Macon or Augusta. Those would really be considered maybe secondary markets. And then you have the tertiary market, which is the country. And so we've bought in primary, secondary, and tertiary markets. The first ones that we bought were the suburbs of Atlanta, because that's where we lived, right? So I basically drove for storage for the first couple of years that we were doing this. I drove around and talked to all the owners in the area, and we ended up buying 4 of them. And so those have all been stabilized, and we've owned those for anywhere from 3 to 5 years now. And so we're in the process of selling those. And I got private lenders to lend me the money for those, right? So just straight debt. And, so all those notes are coming due. So I could either refi those out and hold on to those, or I could sell them. What we're going to do is we're going to sell those, 1031 exchange them into something for next year. So I really want to have cash for next year. And also those were kind of smaller facilities. They're maybe 60 to 80 units, or no, 60 to 100 units, let's say, something like that. And so we're like moving up to the, 100 and, 150 to 250 or something like this is what we're doing now. So we're kind of moving into the 1 million to $3 million range. And so we're not going like big or anything, but we're getting bigger. And so we're going to be selling those as a portfolio. Okay. And so that's what he's doing, is really trying to get those ready to be listed in January. So he's been gone doing that for the last week. And he's typically like, since we got back from our trip, because we were traveling for a year in our RV. And so since he's been back, we've been trying to get settled here in Tallahassee, but we've also he's been out really kind of working and trying to get ready to sell some of our facilities, because we want to get rid of some of those facilities so that he can concentrate on some bigger ones. Okay, good. Now let's talk about wholesaling. And then somebody's asking how do you find them and fund them? Okay, good. So wholesaling, I want to talk about wholesaling today. And the way that you do wholesaling, you're going to have to find them. And so we'll get into how I find all my facilities. Okay, so let me just take my glasses off so I can see. And let's see if this is it. Yeah, there it is. Okay. So everybody should be able to see the whiteboard now. And so we're going to talk about wholesaling today. Wholesaling 101, right? Okay. So you have all right. And then you have the storage or the property. Okay. And then you have the buyer. Okay. And then you have also the seller, right? So these are the parties in a wholesaling transaction. So it's the property. All right, the property, the buyer, and the seller. So you're going to go out, right? And you're going to look for storage facilities to purchase, just like if you were going to buy them, right? You pretend like you're going to go out and you're going to find the facility. Okay. So step one is you got to find the property. All right, this is step one. And then step two is you got to talk to the seller, right? And see if they want to sell. And you've got to, in the process, you've got to run deal analysis. Get the information and run deal analysis. Okay. And then in step three, you have to sell it. You have to get it under contract, and you have to find a buyer for it. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to talk about this just step by step by step, so everybody kind of has an idea of what we're going to do. But you are the middle person between the buyer and the seller. And your job is to find a property that the seller wants to sell and the buyer wants to buy. Okay, that's the job. And in this case, the property is going to be the storage facility. All right, that's how it's going to work. Okay. So let's do for wholesaling, step one. Right, finding them. Just like finding, funding, running, right? It's the same thing. It's just finding them. Okay. So now we have to talk about acquisitions. Okay. What are all the different ways that you can find storage facilities to buy? Okay. Now, one of the things that we've been doing is using Crexi, all right, to find facilities. Now, we do not use Crexi to go on and look at for sale facilities. We do not use Crexi for this. Okay, you can see a lot of properties for sale on Crexi. And let me see if I can share my screen. I talk about this like every single, I've been talking about this every single week since we started doing this. But Crexi has an investors like portal where you can pull up property. Let me see. If you want to get access to Crexi, just email questions@stacyrossetti.com. That's our email, questions@stacyrossetti.com, and let me know, and I'll introduce you to Grant, who is our representative from Crexi. And eventually one day I'll get him to come on and talk. We're trying to figure out a good time to do that, and he'll go over Crexi and everything. But what we do, right, is we don't go to the for sale section. So remember, I don't teach going on to Crexi and looking for facilities to buy. Although there are a ridiculous amount of storage facilities for sale on Crexi right now, they're just always, to me, they're always like way too expensive. There's 650. Every time that I look at this page, there are more and more facilities that are added to this list. It's just crazy to me. I've never seen this many storage facilities for sale. Okay. Now, what we do is we go on to the comps. Like, we'll look at the comps. Okay. Now, comps is only available to those that have accounts with Crexi. This is like the investor side. Okay. And so now what you're going to do is you're going to find like you'll find a whatever area. Let's see, Tallahassee. And Tallahassee, Florida is where we're going to go, right? And look at all the comps. We're going to look at all the storage facility comps. Okay. And then that gives you, like, what Crexi does is gives you a list of all storage facilities that have been sold in your area since 1960. Since 1960. Like like this. Okay. And it will give you a list of all storage facilities in the area, right? And show you kind of what their value, what they sold for, what their value is. Okay. And then you can, I think, no, it's not here. Yeah, you can go here, I think. Let's see if it comes up. And then you can export your results, whatever area. Let's just say, like, I want to be in Monticello, right? I could say Monticello. Here, let's do this. Monticello, Florida. Okay. Let's see if I can figure it out. How to do this. Oops. Yeah. So you can start looking at like all the comps in the area, and you could see like, anything that's ever been sold. So obviously there's nothing there, but anything that's been sold in the area, and say, okay, like, let me start contacting all the owners and seeing if they'd be interested in selling. And there's a whole, honestly, the truth is that, like, I have a whole team that manages Crexi, but we use Crexi to find like every storage facility in an area and just see if anything has ever been sold. I mean, I'm telling you, it's the easiest way to find storage facilities now. All right, so let's just click on this one right here. And let's see what it looks like. AA storage right here. It's 116 units. It sold in 2020 for $480,000. All right. And then what's really cool about Crexi is that it gives you like the owner's information right here, ownership. So you can click on this and then see, and then it gives you the phone number. So Elaine Sutter is the one that owns this. And then it even gives her email, elaine.sutter@gmail.com or whatever. Okay. So that's all here. So it gives you all the contact information just right here. I mean, literally like right at your fingertips. Now, this is kind of what we've been doing, is just using Crexy to find all the lists. You can export the results, is what you can do. You zoom out. I think it exports like up to 100, and then you can pull that list yourself, and then you can just start calling the owners, because the owner information is like right there. You know what I'm saying? It's like right there. It's like so easy. All right. So this is what we've been doing. This is what my virtual assistants do. Okay, is just use Crexy a lot of the times. Now, another thing that we do, and I'm going to just say, and then what we do, another thing that we do is we just virtually drive for storage. All right, so the same exact thing, right? So let's just say like we're in Tallahassee, and so now here we just do nearby, and then we type storage. Okay. And so now you have all the storage facilities here. I mean, obviously Tallahassee is like a primary market. I mean, Cube Smarts and Prime Storage and stuff is all there, so you could just go, you could search this area here and then say, okay, look, here's Monticello. There's a couple of storage facilities here. There's Metro self-storage. And you could really just, start compiling your own list without getting Crexy. You do not have to send, because Crexy does cost money every single month. It's like 100, 150 bucks a month or something, or 100 to 150. So if you don't have to do that, you can compile your own list. Up until just like a couple of months ago, we were compiling our own list is what we were doing. And then like we would add all these facilities to a sheet, and then we would just like keep contact with the owners, call the owners and see if they want to sell. Now remember, and I'll write these down. Remember that there's a lot of storage facilities that are not on Google Maps. They're just not on Google Maps. So like here, you could say Metro self-storage right here. Yeah, you can see like there's probably a Metro self-storage somewhere in this area, but the owner like does not know how to claim this. Okay, so you see it says they have not claimed this business, and so there's no information about Metro self-storage. And so somehow it got onto Google Maps, but the person that is owning this does not know how to claim it properly. And the truth is that in order to get verified to be on Google Maps, it's like super duper hard. It is not easy. In fact, like for the one that we just bought where my husband's at right now, actually no, not that one, the other one that we bought, the one like 2 months ago that we bought, like we're still trying to get that one claimed on Google business listings or whatever, Google My Business or Google Business profile or whatever they call it now, because they change the name like every couple months. But anyway, so it's like a process. And what was happening too is that there was a lot of fraud. Like, so Google's like very strict, like you have to be there. You have to be on the phone. You have to walk around. You have to like show them it's your business. There has to be a sign. You have to be able to get stuff in the mail. They'll send you a card in the mail with a code. Like they want to like totally verify you now. It's like super, super strict. And the truth is like, who wants to do that? Right. Unless you have like a manager, you can delegate that to. Like nobody really wants to do that. I mean, Pete's been doing that up till now. He's the one that does that, and he's just like, he's so annoyed with the whole process, right? And so there's a lot of storage facilities that are not on Google Maps. There's a lot of business. There's a ridiculous amount of businesses that are not on Google Maps or not on any maps, because they have not gone through the process and claimed that whole process. All right. And I call those actually the hidden market is what I call those. Those are really, of all the storage facilities out there, those are going to be one of the best types of storage facilities to buy and to find and to wholesale as well too. Right. And and then on top of that, going out into tertiary markets, especially. So remember, tertiary equals country. Right. And especially in tertiary markets, there are a lot of like hidden storage facilities. And so if you can't afford a lot, and actually wholesaling storage facilities in tertiary markets is going to be a lot easier than wholesaling a storage facility in a secondary or primary market. All right. So just keep that in mind as well too. So if you do want to wholesale self-storage, then you really want to focus on like, smaller towns. I would say 25,000 population, 25,000 or less. All right. Because when you start getting into like secondary markets, which would be considered like 25,000 to maybe 100, 150,000 cities, like by themselves cities, then you get into like bigger players, bigger facilities. It's really hard to wholesale a self-storage facility that's like $2 million. It's just hard to do that, right? Now, what you would do instead is you would syndicate that. All right. If you find something like that, you know, then let me know. I could help you syndicate it, right? If it's a good deal. But so I would say like $1 million or less facilities are good for wholesaling, and tertiary markets are good for wholesaling. Okay. And so let's just put that down here so I can write all my notes. All right. We have so tertiary market, tertiary equals country. All right. You have population 25,000 or less. Okay. And then also property that is not on Google Maps. Okay. And and then you can also use Google Maps to drive for storage. I get out and drive for storage, like me personally, because I like to drive. That's my thing. But my VAs who are all in the Philippines, they do virtual driving for storage. That's how they find their facilities. Okay. And that's all the facilities that we buy are virtually driving for storage. And especially in tertiary markets around that $1 million or less, I mean, we're finding. And then what you want to do when you talk to owners, these types of owners are just like mom and pops, right? They're just like you and me, regular people. And when you're talking to them, you want to just ask them, be honest and just be truthful and say, look, like I'm trying to, buy a storage facility, or I'm trying to find a storage facility to buy. And this is really my first one. And so I'm just calling like all the owners in the area. And I just wanted to know if you'd be interested in getting an offer on your storage facility, right? You always lead with, do you want an offer? You never ask anybody if they want to sell, because nobody really wants to sell, but I'd love to get an offer. Me personally, like I would love to get offers on my facilities, and like nobody ever asks me for offers. Now we get a lot of people that say, do you want to sell your facility? We get letters in the mail. I always just throw all those away. I had one email the other day, and actually, because I told our manager, her name is Bonnie. If anybody ever contacts any of our facilities and asks us if we want to sell our property, then please make sure that you like send them to me. Right. And like, we've got 13 facilities. I've gotten one in like the last maybe 6 months that's tried to contact us. And she's really good about that. And, so I don't know what's going on. People are not calling, and, they used to call all the time. And I guess maybe in the last year, like they stopped calling or something. I'm not sure. But we're ramping up right now and calling owners. But you want to call the owner, call and talk to the owner directly to owner. Like Bonnie, she'll say like, this person is leaving a message like, hey, I can't answer any questions because like I'm not the owners, but would you like me to leave a voicemail? Give me your information and I'll forward them. And then she forwards that message to me, which is totally opposite than like most managers, because most managers, they're just going to say no, they don't want to sell, right? But for us, we always get it. If I get it, I'll talk to them. And, but I've never had anybody say, would you be interested in getting an offer on your property? They always say like, would you be interested in selling your property? And I'm like, no, I don't want to sell. I would never want to sell my storage facilities. They're like cash cows. Why would I want to sell them? Oh, would you like to get an offer? Like, at least outline, what I feel, your facility is valued at. I would love to know what you think my facility is valued at. I would love to know that. Will I sell? Probably not, but I would love to get an offer of what your what you think the value is, right? That's like so too, and so that's why our virtual assistants are doing that, and it works. I'm telling you, we're putting in like 10 to 15 offers a week. It's crazy how many offers we're putting in. Okay, so you want to talk to the owner directly, not the managers, right? And you want to ask the owner for an offer, not to sell. Do they want an offer? Okay. All right, so this is like basically how you're going to find storage facilities right now. At least this is how we're finding them. We use Crexy, we use Google Maps, we drive for storage virtually, and we call owners and we talk to only owners. And guess what? In Crexy, you can find the information of the owner, so you can bypass the managers, and that is how we're getting all of our deals right now. Okay. That's finding facilities. Any questions on finding facilities? I see there's a question on how are you finding good virtual assistants? I found one. I hired one virtual assistant in January of this year, and I found her on Upwork, and she was like totally task oriented. And just like I gave her a couple little tasks here and there, and she started doing these tasks like amazing. I was like, man, some good spreadsheets and stuff, you know? And so I was like, you know what, I really would like to have her on my team. So I asked her if she'd work full time for me, and she said yes. And she's the one that really started doing the acquisition stuff and started teaching her how to do that. It was like January, February of this year. And that's when I started getting the idea of doing the turnkey acquisitions. And we launched that in May. And that's really when I took my first group of students and started building up this this team of virtual assistants. And they all came from referrals, right? So she referred somebody else, and they referred somebody, and they referred somebody. And now we have like 12 I have 12 virtual assistants that do nothing but call owners and talk to them and then find deals for my students. But that's how it started, was Upwork. Okay. And then Crexy is where you can go and get the owner's information, and you can really, you can really utilize that software on the back end. So if you're interested in that, just email us, email Ariel. It's questions@stacyrossetti.com, and we will introduce you to Grant, and Grant will do a demo, and then you want to go through us, because if you don't, you're going to be paying more money. All right, just FYI. Okay, so use me as your discount. Say, look, I got your information from Stacy, so that you can get my discount as well too. Okay. Okay, all right. So that is finding them. All right. So we're going to get out there and start talking to owners. Okay. And now what we're going to do is, when we talk to the owners, this is key. All right. So when you talk to the owners, you're going to ask them if they want to get an offer on their property. Right. And I've done countless sessions on like putting offers in, so you can go back and watch all my sessions. I have a whole section in my course on this. These are not, I don't send out replays of my sessions, so these are all live, but you can go on my YouTube page if you want and listen to videos on, or you can get the course. Okay. And so the next step is from finding them is the deal analysis. Okay. And this is where obviously you want to have some sort of a deal analyzer to run your numbers, and you need to learn how to run commercial deal analysis, right? Because you have to be, you as the wholesaler, or you as the person that's talking to the owner, you have to know whether or not it's a good deal. So your next step is learning how to run commercial deal analysis. Now you can get learn how to do this in my deal analyzer if you're a student. I offer this to you guys, and then also there's a deal analyzer in the course that you will learn how to do. But if you can't afford to buy the course, or if you can't afford to join the coaching program, because I get it's a little bit of money to do that, then what I want you to do is check out ROI Muse. ROI Muse. Okay. And just email us and let us know if you're interested in getting in contact with Joe. Joe James is his name, and he's the one that developed the deal analyzer for it's a commercial real estate It's a commercial real estate deal analyzer. Okay, so this is not specifically for storage. Okay, if you got my deal analyzer, then it would be like for storage and boat and RV and all this kind of stuff is what it would be. But Joe is a awesome person in the industry, and he's a multifamily guy. Okay, so he does a lot of multi syndications and stuff. And so I've met him. I don't know. I met him along the path somewhere, and he created ROI Muse. You can go to the website if you want, but definitely you don't want to buy it unless you have my link, because I get 50% off. And this is a website where you get access to his deal analyzer. Okay. And he has like a whole bunch. He has like every deal analyzer you can imagine. So if you want to learn like all types of real estate investing, he's got like the Burr method, he's got rehabbing, he's got commercial real estate, he's got like everything that you need. Right now, the commercial real estate deal analyzer is one where it's really kind of generic for everybody. It's generic for all types of like commercial real estate, and it's like very kind of like Excel spreadsheet looking, right? So it's a lot of like, it looks like an Excel spreadsheet. So you just have to kind of train yourself on how to put the numbers, like all things, but you have to learn how to run commercial deal analysis. So if you want access to his deal analyzer, which is 50% off using my link, then just email questions@stacyrossetti.com and say, hey, like I want to get access to ROI Muse. Give me your link so that I can get 50% off, and then we'll send it to you. Okay. And so then and then he doesn't really go into like storage. Honestly, he's a multifamily guy is what he is. So he's going to be really teaching you like how to utilize his deal analyzer for multifamily, but you can run commercial deal analysis. You can run any type of like deal, like commercial deal from his deal analyzer. Okay. So you just have to learn how to do it, put the numbers in, and it will give you like projections and all kinds of stuff like this. Okay. So that's called ROI Muse, but you want to learn like how to run numbers. So you want to really understand what is like, the cash on cash return. What's the DSCR, right? The debt service ratio, right? What's the IRR? You want to learn, like you're going to be learning all of the terms, and you need to learn how to run deal analysis. So when you talk to the owner, there's a few things that you have to get from the owner. Okay. You're going to have to get the unit mix, the vacancy percentage, the total square footage, the number of units. Let's see what else. Annual income. Okay. And let's see if there's anything else, just let me know if you can think of something, but this is typically what you get. All right. And what's T12? I'm not sure what T12 is. I have no idea, James. But so unit mix, vacancy percentage, total square footage, number of units, annual income. And then expenses. Really, a lot of people want to get expenses. The truth is that expenses is super biased. All right, super biased. So like your expenses on how you run a facility could be completely different the way that I run my expenses. Okay. Yeah, that's what I was bringing up. Yeah. Annual income is like, yeah, revenue and expenses. And yeah, so but the thing is like under expenses, you're going to want to know like the taxes, the property taxes. And you're going to want to know the insurance cost, utilities. And then you're going to do like maintenance, software, marketing. Okay, this is really expenses. Okay. Expenses, marketing, property taxes, insurance, utilities, maintenance, software. Now, software is like your software plus your credit card fees. Okay, maintenance is going to be like your boots on the ground person, and then anything else that you need in order to, like, fix the place up. And then also like a phone person, if you want to hire a phone person, if you're not going to be the one that answers the phones, right? I have somebody that like is like a student right now that's buying a facility. I think it's like 116 units or something. It's super small, not like super small. It's like a good size, right? I got a great price for it. And he's like wants to hire like a virtual assistant to like do stuff. And I'm thinking like 116 units, man, that's not going to be that difficult to handle. It really, I think you're only going to get like in the first week that you own the facility, it's like super busy, a lot of phone calls and stuff. I get that, but really the second and third and fourth weeks are not really that busy. Now, obviously the first couple of months that you buy a facility is like really busy because you're getting it up and running, but I don't think that you really need to spend on 116 units. You don't really have to spend so much money having somebody run it, right? Now you could have a boots on the ground person that's there, like, cleaning the place up and like picking up trash and like overlocking. And then you can have like a part-time phone person that maybe answers the phone, but but you don't want to spend a lot of money on this. Okay. So but you do want to you want to figure out what your expenses are going to be. You're looking at their expenses, but the truth is like, honestly, the truth is every owner that I've ever had send me over their P&L and their balance sheet, they're like running all kinds of expenses through it. You know what I'm saying? So that's not really it just brings the value of the property down if you're looking at their expenses. You don't want to do that. You want to bring, you want to have your own deal analysis, your own, especially as a wholesaler, you just really want to have your own deal analysis. And so, so this is what you're going to get from the owner. Okay. And then what you're going to do, all right, obviously, so now you've found them and you're doing your deal analysis. Like, I'm not getting into how to run deal analysis, but you need to learn how to run deal analysis. I gave you ROI News, or you can always buy my course, or you can watch my videos on YouTube, or you can join the coaching program. Okay. Now we're gonna make our offer to our owner, right? Because we've done the deal analysis. So now you have you, and then you have the seller, and then you have you. This is the contract. You make your offer, right? You use the magic letter. You make several different offers. I talk about the magic letter a lot. And then you make several different offers, and then you get it under contract, right? So you make an offer, and then you get it under contract. So now you have this storage facility under contract, and you're like, oh my gosh, I just put like a $500,000 facility under contract, and I like have no money to buy this thing. What should I do? Like, oh yes, I could totally wholesale this thing, right? That's your exit strategy. Your exit strategy is to wholesale it, which means to find a buyer that will buy this property from you. Now, you cannot, by law, you cannot market anybody's property unless you have it under contract and unless you paid earnest money. That is what's called equitable interest. Equitable interest. So you cannot market anybody's property unless you have equitable interest in that property, right? So by paying the earnest money, then you now have equitable interest, and then you can market that property. Okay. And you want to also make sure that your contract is an assignable contract. Of wholesaling, these are the two most important things. You have equitable interest in the deal, right, by paying the earnest money from the contract, and you have an assignable contract, and that assignable contract allows you to assign that contract to sell that to somebody else. You can sell that contract to somebody else. Okay, So that's here. So you have the contract to the seller. And you've reached your limit on Zoom. What does that mean? Oh, you know what? Maybe it's I have no idea what that means, actually. I got kicked out of Zoom, all right, for I don't know why, for some reason. At least I didn't get kicked out of this one, but I guess my whiteboard got kicked out of Zoom. So we'll keep going, and I just won't be able to write about it. But so now you have this contract, and you're going to be able to market this facility, and you've seen it in Facebook groups. If you're in Super Simple Self, make sure you join our Facebook group. But there's people selling facilities all the time. These are all wholesalers, right? And so that contract gives you the right to go out and market that facility in all the Facebook groups and see if anybody's interested. And you, as the wholesaler, your job is to build your list up of people that would be interested in like buying properties that you find, right? So you're, as a wholesaler, your most prized possession is your VIP buyers list. And I've seen Facebook ads, if you don't get these or not, but I get them on my stream, where there's people that are coming in and trying to like get you to like download their checklists and stuff like this. And then they're putting you onto their buyers list. Okay. That is, as a wholesaler, that's your most profitable part. One of your most profitable things is that you have this buyers list that you can like wholesale your properties to. All right. So now that you have this contract, you can go out and post it all over Facebook, and you can start building this list up by like, networking and like talking to people that are, and talking to people that are like interested in buying storage. Everybody wants to buy storage facility. Everybody wants to buy storage, but not a lot of people actually buy storage, right? That's the key. But you want to at least have that list, because you never know, somebody on that list may be interested in buying one of your properties, right? But the key is that you find them, you run deal analysis, you put it under contract. All right. And then you go out and you market that property and you find a buyer to buy it. Okay. And so when you find a buyer that is going to buy that facility, then essentially you're doing the same thing again. You're putting it under contract for sale. You as the seller are now, because you have equitable interest in that property, you as the seller are selling that property to a buyer. So the contract that you fill out will be you as the seller and them as the buyer, right? So you'll have you as the buyer and the seller as the seller, and you'll have you as the seller and the buyer as the buyer, and you are that person in the middle. You're the person in the middle that's basically flipping a contract. That's what wholesaling is flipping contracts. And so let's say you put this facility under contract from the seller, under contract for $500,000. And then you went out and marketed on Facebook and built your list up, and you found a buyer that's going to buy it for $550,000. Now you have that $50,000 in the middle. You have $50,000 in the middle. And that $50,000 goes to you as the wholesaler. So you made $50,000. I have made $50,000 to $100,000 on wholesale deals quite often. And you can do it as well too. All you do is find a seller that wants to sell and find a buyer that wants to buy. You just put it under contract for both of those transactions. And then in the middle, whatever it is, if it's $5,000 or 10 or 20 or 50 or 100 or $150,000, you make that money. You make the difference between the buy side and the sell side. That is what wholesaling is. And it's very, very lucrative. And honestly, the truth is there's really not, that's my dog in the background. That's Lulu. She's super old. Sorry. And the truth is there's not enough wholesalers out there. There are way too many people that want to buy storage, but there's not a lot of wholesalers out there. Okay. Now, remember that, which is good because that means there's hardly any competition. But also remember, if you do want to wholesale, okay, if you do want to wholesale, you have to put it under contract for a price where you can add money and actually sell the contract. So if it's worth $500,000, then put it under contract for 450,000 so you can sell it for 500 grand. I see way too many wholesalers putting it under contract for 500,000, it's worth 500, and they try to sell it for 550, and then the numbers get too tight. You as the wholesaler, it's your job to create a win-win situation for all parties. That means a win-win situation for the seller, a win-win situation for yourself, and a win-win situation for the buyer. And everybody in this scenario needs to make money. Everybody. So if you're coming across a seller that wants too much for their property and you just can't sell it, if you can't sell it for the price that you're trying to sell it for, that means that you put it under contract at the wrong price. And it's your job as a wholesaler to understand that you should be discounting those properties so that you can make money on the back end, and then also the buyer can make money on the back end. Especially properties that are $1 million or less, which remember is this area that you're going to be in, the size that you're going to be in, because it's harder to make a lot of money on a $350,000 facility. You can't put it under contract for $350,000 when it's only worth $325,000 and try to sell it for $375,000, right? And I see that all the time. I see it all the time. So make sure that you discount that price enough. Whatever you want to make on that deal, you discount it so you can make it. You don't want to push those numbers, and you definitely don't want to be greedy. All right. That's the one rule that I have. That's the one rule that I have that I've learned over the past, over 10 years that I've been doing this in real estate investing. Don't be greedy, because the truth is that there's so many deals out there. All right. If you know what you're doing, you're going to find it. Believe me, so you just want to make enough money to make enough money to create a win-win situation for you, for the seller, for the buyer, and then just pass it on to the next one, and then pass it and go on to the next one. Sell it and go on to the next one. Now, when you close on a wholesale deal, typically you're going to it's an assignable contract. So you really have one closing. But if you don't want the owner to know how much you're making, right? If you're going to make 50 grand and you don't want that 50 grand on your contract, then you'll have to do a double closing. You have to close it and then, have to reclose it. Now, a lot of buyers like me, I don't care what you make, just as long as on the back end, we're all making some money, then I don't care if you're making 50 or 100 grand. I have one of my students that bought a deal and he paid the wholesaler $150,000. But that property on the back end is he bought it for 1.5 million and it's worth $3 million. So for him, $150,000 is worth it. Okay. All right. But sometimes the sellers and the buyers, they're like, I had to pay this kind of stuff. So then you'll have to do a double close. All right. So that means you have to close one facility and then close another. I've never had to do a double close. I always just make an assignable contract and I let everybody know, I'm going to be making money on this deal. You're going to make money. You're going to make money, and I'm going to make money. I hope that's okay, because I don't want to pay 2 closings. And everybody's typically okay with that. But every once in a while, you'll get a seller that's like, what? Or you'll get a buyer that's like, what? And then you'll have to do a double closing. Okay. So that is wholesaling in a nutshell. Okay. And I'll go over that again a couple more times, because I know it's a little tricky. Also, another thing I want to point out is in my course, there's a whole section on wholesaling. So this is high level, how to wholesale. And I'm doing it in 45 minutes, but if you really want to learn how to wholesale, then highly recommend that you get my course. Okay. Be on the lookout for the Black Friday sale, and you'll get a good discount as well too. Okay. I'm going to jump off and go to my fund. So if anybody wants to be a passive investor, definitely go to the fund, stacyrossetti.com/fund, and to the pitch, and I'll be there. Okay. And actually have a good Thanksgiving for everybody. Have a great Thanksgiving, and I will see you next Monday.
Thank you for joining us for this episode of Storage Nerds. Hope this informative conversation inspired you to go out there and jump into this highly profitable business venture that people rarely talk about. Get more tips on storage space investing at www.stacyrossetti.com. Don't forget to subscribe to the show and leave a rating. Together, let's build that thriving passive income one storage space at a time. Until next time.